Sesame Street. Maybe
How did they do that again?
Yep. That's all they did. And I don't even remember like why they were doing it. We're reliving our youth here on this porch.
All right, listen up, everybody. This is the Sports Porch Pittsburgh. Welcome back for another week of shenanigans, hijinks.
And then there were two.
Yep. We were remembering the Muppets earlier.
Or the Sesame Street. I'm not exactly sure where that came from. Drop us a comment if you know.
Yes, thank you. This is the Sports Porch Podcast in Pittsburgh. And we do drop the podcast. We're live right now all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
On Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Twitter, anything else we can get our grubby little hands on.
Are we on Instagram?
Not right now. I'm having technical difficulties.
I knew we were having technical difficulties. I just wanted to double check.
Yes, and we drop the podcast right after the show. You can subscribe to the podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your freaking podcasts. And the first Buccos report of the season will be this Wednesday, now that they've kind of ironed things out and they've got their opening day roster set. We'll get into that.
Yes, they do.
We're going to talk about the Steelers, of course, because that's what we do best. We have Hockey Jesus over here right to my right in the house. He's going to talk about the Penguins. Not a whole lot to talk about anymore.
It will be a sad segment.
But I do, and we are,
with
of course,
a bright light at the end, of course, because I am the Hockey Jesus.
That's right. There's always a bright white light over your head.
At the end.
There's a bright white light right now on your face.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I actually thought about shaving it live on the show.
Huh.
Because it is coming off tonight because the Penguins are... they're essentially out of the playoffs.
Oh, this was the hockey. This was
the hockey playoff beard. They failed.
Yeah,
and now they're out of the playoff race, and now the beard needs to go.
No, I think you should leave it on.
No,
it's not a bad look for you.
I know.
It comes.
But you know what really got me, and maybe I said this last time, so I apologize, sports porchers, if I'm doubling up here. But I have a hat that I wear, and it's kind of like a baggy hat. And I had the baggy hat on with the beard, and somebody called me Papa Smurf.
Oh.
I didn't like that too much. I didn't really like it too much. You know why? Because it was pretty close to the truth.
Drop your comment if you think Steve looks like Papa Smurf.
Well, I'm not wearing the baggy hat, but yeah. With the baggy hat, yeah.
I think you should go for it. Actually,
I do have the hat right over there, but I really don't want to put it on.
You didn't have it on when you came in the driveway.
No, because it's pretty warm out in Pittsburgh today.
Right. You were afraid I was going to call you Papa Smurf. Well, you have the right color on, blue.
Well, I always wear blue.
I know.
Just ask my wife.
That's true. You do.
Yeah, just ask my wife.
I always wear black.
It's a joke. It's a running joke in our house about how much blue I have.
Why do you always wear blue?
I just like blue. You know, Einstein only had like white shirts and like a black blazer. That's all he ever had, in black pants.
Yeah, but it was in the 1930s. That's all everybody ever had. White and black.
I thought maybe I'd just bring it back, only this time with blue.
But okay, Einstein. That's how we named our first cat in college.
That's how we named the cat. Yep. That's how Einstein got its name in college.
I need to pick a picture up of him.
I think David has it right, by the way.
What is
DG got it right.
I haven't seen
it makes me look like I'm living in a van down by the river.
In a van down by the river.
I think you're spot on with that, David.
What a great guy. Absolutely. I don't remember where I was going, but
it's free flow because we're without Schwab tonight.
That's true. Where I was going, I'm glad you said that, was that if you're gonna you should keep that. How would you shave it? Would you shave it with cream, or would you use the razor?
What I do first when it gets this big and out of control, I get the electric razor and I just
you skim it, right?
And then I get it down to a point where I can
take the blade.
Get the blade.
Right. Okay. So
blade it out.
So what we should actually do is make Schwab grow a beard. Now, wouldn't that be something?
Oh, that would be fun.
I know he's watching. There's no way he's not watching.
I've never seen him with facial hair.
I saw a picture at his house when we were doing some of the football stuff there.
Yeah.
It was of him and his wife, Amy May. I don't know if she's watching that. She might be down in Florida.
Yeah, they might be together.
They might be. And but it was an old picture. You know, he had his classic baseball hat on.
Classic baseball.
You know, his face was a little thinner, like we were back then. He had a little goatee going. He used to wear a little goatee.
You're right. I do remember the goatee. Yeah. It was brief. Yeah. But in all of the 90s, when everybody was wearing those big burly beards, not Mark.
Yeah, no.
No.
And I wasn't wearing that.
I have a
beard.
feeling he can grow a mean beard too. I mean, he's got hair everywhere. I mean, we all have hair everywhere. We're men of that age.
We got people dropping off.
Yeah.
They don't even want to watch this. I'm gonna put this up. Listen, Hockey Jesus is doing a fantastic job on our YouTube channel. You can get Hockey Jesus, his analysis of the Penguins game and NHL hockey, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later in the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
On our YouTube channel, I'm gonna put a link in the comments. We're trying to build our YouTube subscribers right now. We have a blistering 22.
Yeah, but we were like 10.
Yeah, I know. Since Hockey Jesus started. Yeah,
ago.
And your latest update has the most views of, dare I say, any video on our channel so far. So,
well, you know why that is. I kind of went off on a few tangents.
Yeah, I know
brought
you
in
did.
some other people.
I know you did. So here's the link to our YouTube channel. Please go there and subscribe right now. DG is in the house, of course, and he is subscribed. We thank him, and he leaves a comment. Leave comments on the videos if you have something good to say. And DG says, happy belated birthday to the Grand Schwabini, who is now a very spry, young 54 years old.
Yeah, he's an old man now.
You know, I never even thought, I never thought I'd make it to 30, to be honest with you. I know none of you guys thought I'd make it to 30, but let alone all of us.
When you made it to 30, we were like, everything else is gravy at this point.
That came out way too authentic.
Well,
way too authentic. Yeah, what are we going to do? All right.
Let's get to some Steelers
Catch the Sports
stuff.
Porch podcast also anywhere you get your podcasts. First thing we want to do is something we didn't do last week. We promised we were going to do it during the show, and we forgot. We want to.
I forgot that we forgot.
Extend our congratulations, of course, to the Duquesne Dukes, the men's basketball team, on a great season. The upset of Butler, not really a huge upset, but the upset of Butler.
No, Kentucky.
No, they didn't beat Kentucky. They beat Butler.
No.
Look it up.
Look it up.
No, you look it up.
Look it up.
I'm going to look it up.
Dude, who has
settle this for us right now? I don't feel like
who has 490 points on their ESPN bracket.
I don't care about that. I know you're wrong. I would bet my pretzel nuggets.
Oh, no, we're both wrong. It was BYU. That's why.
Thank you very much. Like I said, you were wrong. It was BYU. So they beat BYU, and then they lost to Illinois. We got that one right.
Yeah,
right?
They got smashed.
They
by
did.
Illinois.
They did. But
Illinois came out and said, Cinderella, there goes your shoe.
That's right.
Yeah. They just took the first basket, they just took it off and just like stomped on it the rest of the game.
I know.
That's a really good team, by the way, Illinois.
Yeah, I was listening to the Fan or something. I don't know. I was driving around while that game was on in the afternoon or something. I was on my way to work or something like that. And I heard the score, and I was like, and it was near the end of the first half, and they were down by 15 or something. I was like, that sucks. They're done. But
you know what? There were a lot of teams that got smashed yesterday. Duke killed somebody by like 40 points. North Carolina crushed whoever they were playing by like 40 points.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of close games.
Yeah.
Except for that Oregon game. My God, 2 overtimes.
Against Oakland, right? Oregon, Oakland. Yeah.
Yeah. That was crazy.
No.
It wasn't Oregon, Oakland. It was
no, Oakland lost. Yeah.
Or that's somebody. Right. Oakland lost UNC.
This is how close attention we pay to NCAA basketball now.
Well, I was forced to fill out a bracket this year. I haven't in a while, but Max decided that this was the year that the family gets in on everything. Yeah. So he set up a bracket and he sent out a link. So of course I'm going to fill it out.
Right. Did Susan fill one out?
Oh yeah, she was like in the lead for most of the time. Like she has no clue. My wife is not a sports fan.
It's like monkeys in the stock market throwing darts at a board.
Most of you guys can probably relate to having a wife who could care less about sports. That's my wife.
I can definitely relate to that.
And but yet every time she picks games, it's like she's like either at the top or like in the second or third. And usually by the end, it kind of fades.
Yeah.
Because, you can only get lucky like in the first, 50%.
Yes.
But after that, you do need a little bit of skill after that. If your team survive, if they don't, then, you can get lucky again. Yeah.
Or maybe you can get lucky.
So as it turns out, I'm in first place with 490 points.
Yeah.
Which is...
this is the bracket you've been bragging about, your family bracket.
No. Well, if you look at 490 points on ESPN, their tournament bracket,
Yeah.
it like puts you at the top of the people who are on fire.
Oh, okay.
It's like 500 is like Carlos Boozer. He's like the top guy.
Yeah.
And then I'm right there beside like Greeny or somebody like that. At 490.
Okay.
But if you look at the overall thing, like the people who are in the lead, like the people who are really smart, they have like 600.
Okay. All right.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
like they literally like missed like 1 or 2 games.
That is amazing. And I didn't even fill out a bracket this year.
Yeah.
I think it's the first year I haven't done it.
The only reason I did was because Max sent out that link. If he did, I probably wouldn't have filled one out.
Crazy. Well, anyway, congrats to the Duquesne Dukes. First tournament since 1977. First tournament win since 1969. I guess their coach is retiring.
Hey, he's going out on a high note. I know they got smashed by Illinois, but still, to beat BYU the way they did.
Yeah. Well, to make the tournament, and I know there's a lot of people screaming Pitt should have made it, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line here is I don't really care.
Yeah, and the ACC is actually doing quite well, so it's not shutting those people up at all.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to the Steelers here. What are your thoughts on Quez Watkins and the Steelers wide receiver core now? We were exchanging. Well, you and Schwaber were exchanging.
Mark was saying it because Quez came from Philadelphia. So I couldn't tell if he was giving us a jab or if he was like, "Hey, you got Quez now. He's pretty good." I really couldn't tell, but I can tell you that a guy who can't break into the lineup even when their other wide receivers are hurt is not a good wide receiver.
Well, I think this is kind of putting a body in that room for right now.
It's just
the
another
draft
body
is coming up, and it's a pretty deep draft for the Steelers, or for wide receivers.
I mean, they got Van Jefferson, right?
Yep.
So I mean, they got him, and they still got Pickens.
Yep. And they have CA3,
and they got Calvin Austin III, and they got another guy who's a wide receiver who hasn't played.
Boykin.
Yeah, no, it was another like rookie who they put on the practice squad because they wanted to protect him. Anyway, once again, just another body, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter as much. It's hard to know. You got 2 new quarterbacks, so they're going to have to learn.
They got 3 now. They signed Kyle Allen.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Really looking forward to that.
Whatever. They'll probably cut him before the end.
Well, they need to have 3 in the roster, so they have 3.
That's true. I guess.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, these new quarterbacks are going to have to learn to throw to the new wide receiver. So somebody's going to probably shine out of that group. Probably be Van Jefferson, to be honest with you. And
doesn't he get injured a lot? He gets injured.
He doesn't play that much because remember he was behind Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
Puka. So, but there's a guy I think he probably could have broken through the lineup, but those guys never got injured and he never really played. Except for I remember you telling me that story about he was like a 1 week fantasy stud, and then it was like the guy everybody was going to pick up.
Who?
Oh no, I was talking to Scott about that.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. So Scott was telling me, he was like, the only reason I know about him was he played 1 week.
Are we still talking about this nameless player?
No, Van Jefferson.
Oh, okay.
That came from the Rams, right? He I guess Cooper Kupp was out 1 week and he like lit it up. So when he got a chance to play, he played really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
What are you going to do? So I think that's just a body in the room.
I think Quez is, I have no thoughts about him. To me,
here you go. CD. Here's the connection right here. The doctor says Arthur Smith had Van Jefferson in Atlanta for half a year.
Yeah,
so there's a familiarity with the scheme.
That's why he'll end up being a number 2 guy most likely.
I'm not looking forward to our receiving core this year right now.
Well, I mean that's because they don't run backwards. They probably know how to run routes really well.
No, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not.
You like Deontay Johnson because
I didn't like Deontay Johnson.
He was always an adventure in whether he would run backwards or forwards.
Don't accuse me of liking him. I did not like him at all. Quez is Austin backup. That's what CD's saying. Steelers Freak is watching us on YouTube. He says Smith used 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers when with the Titans. I
can see that happening. Maybe Washington comes along with Freiermuth.
I actually, that comment, Steelers Freak, actually is, I appreciate that because these guys know last year. I was a huge Darnell Washington fan because that guy.
You wanted to see more of him.
I want to see a lot of him because you could basically throw the ball within, I don't know, a half a mile of him. And if he doesn't catch it, he's not going to let anybody else catch it. And if he does catch it, I don't care if he can't run fast. Nobody's going to tackle the guy. He's a beast.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
Right.
And having him on using a 2 tight end set, he's also an additional offensive lineman. I mean, I think they have a special. Now, I'm not going to say he's some kind of superstar because we don't know that.
No, we don't.
But they have a special talent at that position because of this guy's size and athletic ability. And I really think that may have played into Arthur Smith coming over here because he's looking at Freiermuth, who can catch the ball and run with it.
Yeah.
And Darnell Washington, who's your big man.
Maybe
in the center.
I mean, I like the idea of 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers just because it doesn't give away the run. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can run out of that pass set, and if you play action, which he loves to play action a lot,
right?
Then that can bust open a guy either deep, and he likes to throw it deep in the play action too. Yep. So that works well for Pickens if it's a one-on-one situation. Which you got to figure Russ is going to be able to see that right away. Having a veteran quarterback is going to make a big difference in that situation.
That's what I am looking forward to. So Kyle is in the house. Porch of the Sports. Hey, Kyle, what's up? He says, we need a Pittsburgh property diva plug. The beauty of this show, Kyle, is that if you ask for it, you get it. There you go. I want to thank the Pittsburgh Property Diva for being our biggest sponsor.
And I want to thank Kyle for bringing it up. Kyle, what's up? Are you working on that flight from Pittsburgh to San Francisco? I need a cheap flight from Delta. Let's go.
Yeah,
get on it.
There
man.
you go. Steelers Freak says Washington has tackle dimensions. He just needs more weight to change positions. I don't know if he needs more weight. He also says
to play the tackle position. Well, yeah, for sure he would.
He also says they could draft another blocking tight end in the late rounds. Moose blocking is below average.
You know, since Steelers Freak brought it up, that tackle position, both Kahn and Tomlin were about moving my man Broderick Jones to the left side. They were like, he's doing pretty good on the right side. You know?
Yeah, I don't like that.
So I think they're going to keep Dan Moore over there, and they're going to keep Broderick Jones on the right side, which means we don't really need a tackle. What we need is a center.
Well, yeah, and they're talking about Herbig playing center, but I think that's a smokescreen.
Kahn really talked up Herbig as being the center. Yeah.
Every time they talk somebody up, they go in another direction. I think that's a smokescreen. I think the Steelers are going to take a center with the 20th pick in the draft. That's what I think they're going to do.
I think if the center they want is there, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna stay on the let's beef up the offensive line mantra that they started last year. It makes sense. It
does make sense.
They need a good center.
Absolutely.
And I would applaud that direction.
I think their biggest needs are center. I think their biggest needs are the offensive line still and the defensive line. Because if we've had this argument or this debate for a long time, you got to start in the trenches. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of offense you run.
I don't know. They got Leal still, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I know Cam's going to play one more year.
That's my point. They have to set up that line for
But Cam's not
success.
Cam's not playing at a high level right now anyway.
No, but
he's playing like basically a rookie would play.
I disagree with that. He may not be playing at a high level from a physical standpoint, but he's certainly playing at a high level from a mental standpoint. And that does go for something. CD says plenty of centers should wait until the second, right? Okay, maybe.
Yeah. If the talent is good enough to wait for the second, just wait till the second.
Who would you take first, CD? Who would you take first? Let's see. DG has a comment.
You end up going with the wide receiver.
Yeah,
at that
right.
point.
Smith supposedly likes to open up over the middle, but I keep hearing that Wilson, Wright, and Fields aren't big on throwing in the middle. What do you think?
Yeah,
I think that's a concern that I have as well. But I think when you look at the way Russell Wilson plays,
CD's going quarterback in the first round.
I know that's ridiculous.
You're ridiculous.
Yeah, stick to being a physician. Okay.
The
offensive tackle. Right. Okay. Good enough. Now you're not ridiculous.
Honestly, I think they love Dan Moore Jr. too much. I don't think they can get their lips off of his cheeks.
Yeah, I would think. Well, I would think. Actually, you kind of you just reversed positions with me now. That's what you did.
Yeah,
that
I did.
There,
I did.
So now I'm trying to settle into being Steve.
That's okay.
Really hard to do.
That's impossible. You don't have a beard anyway, so you can't do it.
I shaved mine yesterday because I had a date last night with my wife at
That was
Alta Via
smart.
in Fox Chapel, which is a great restaurant.
Oh yeah, Alta Via is a great place.
Yeah, who'd have thought that Big Burrito would come out with an Italian restaurant that was super good?
No,
I mean,
they're
good anyway.
Yeah. No, it's excellent.
So,
okay,
with Smith over the Russell Wilson over the middle.
Isn't there like a Chris Mims as a quarterback?
No, that's Chris Sims, and he's now he was Phil Sims's kid, and he's now a moron on the NFL Network. Actually, he's not a moron.
I'm really out of it. I apologize today, Sports Porters.
So no,
I had a rough week last week. I'm allowed to be a little.
You did have a rough week. I'll give you that. Yeah. DG was talking about Wilson throwing over the middle. When you look at the way Russell Wilson plays, though, he is a mobile quarterback. He likes to move around in the pocket. He likes to leave the pocket.
Yeah.
He's very good at throwing outside of the pocket, which if you understand football, then you know, and I'm not saying you don't, DG, but if you understand his game, you know that if he's scrambling to the right or scrambling to the left, more often than not, he's not going to throw back across over the middle. That's why Russell Wilson does not throw over the middle. I don't think it's because he's afraid to. I think if he's in the pocket and there's a guy open in the middle and that the play was designed for that, like a tight end up the seam,
right?
Then yeah, he's going to throw over the middle. Justin Fields, on the other hand, I think is a project, and I would agree with you that throwing over the middle for him is more of a concern because there's just a lot of bodies in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And that's why he's going to learn from Russell Wilson. I happen to really, the more I've thought about it, I really like the quarterback situation that we have right now. I really like it. I talked about it last week. I talked about how I think that it's a great thing that they've done as far as, I mean, you can take the economics out of it. It doesn't matter. It's a great thing they've done as far as Justin Fields has stated that his mentor, he modeled his game when he was younger after Russell Wilson. And now he's got his hero, so to speak, in front of him. And I think you're taking, for all this talk, will there be, I saw Stephen A. Smith, will there be a quarterback controversy in Pittsburgh?
None.
Maybe. I mean, there's always a potential for a controversy at that position in any team.
Maybe if one of them gets injured in the preseason.
That's it. That's not what's being set up here. What's being set up is we've got a proven quarterback at this position, a veteran who has won and can play. We've got a young guy who's got an immense amount of talent, but just can't seem to get the game down as far as reading the defense and calling the plays. And now he's going to learn from his mentor for a year. That's what I think their plan is right now. Could it backfire? Sure, it could backfire.
Here's the thing with Justin Fields that they gotta manage. It's his turnovers. They got to teach him how to be more careful with handling the ball when he runs.
Right.
You don't.
He's a fumbling machine.
He's a fumbling machine, and he's an interception machine too. He has like 68 turnovers in his career.
I know. He like set a record. I know. He set a record.
So that's what they need to work on before they can say, okay, let's make some plays for him. Because if he can come in and be careful with the ball and be, that change of pace quarterback, I'm okay with them drawing some plays up for him. But as far as starting, it's Russ's team.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
No doubt about it.
Now, this is what I don't like. Now, let me get CD's comment in here. Russ is short, can't see over the line. Hey, Drew Brees couldn't either. Steelers Freak says Fields must prove he can be a pocket passer. No run first QB has won a ring yet. I know you meant to spell that WON, but that's okay, Steelers Freak.
No, we're good with that. We can read.
Yeah, we understand.
We can read.
It sounds the same.
Yeah.
So
I want to go back to the draft. I like the idea of drafting a cornerback in the first round if they wait to the second round. There's this Nate Wiggins, if he can make it that far. Right now he's ranked like 14th position. And the worst thing I think they would have to do is take Kool-Aid McKinstry. He's further down the line.
And that is his real name, isn't it?
I love that name.
I hate
hey,
that name.
Kool-Aid man, come on. Just think of
yeah.
what they can put on the Jumbotron. That would be so much fun.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that.
And it's about having fun.
I guess
if you're going to spend $120 for your ticket, you want to have fun. You want to see Kool-Aid man come out of that scoreboard, right?
Okay. Whatever.
Don't you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Bursting right out of it.
So
give out free Kool-Aid.
Okay. Kool-Aid packets. Right.
All right. Kool-Aid in first round, or take the
Are you drinking the Kool-Aid?
Or take that's not good. That's Kool-Aid in the first round, says CD, or take the white boy from Iowa.
Yeah, he's going up the ranks. And they went and got a safety. I think he plays safety anyways, doesn't he? That white boy. I'm pretty sure he does. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a safety, but he's a really good safety.
Yeah.
But I think them going out and get that guy from the Dolphins, I think they've pretty much solidified their safety.
No, I think, they've given Minka something to work with now. He can play his game, and signing Patrick Queen.
I think it's a little too early to take the Kool-Aid man, but hey, it's fun. It's fun to say Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, I guess. So what are your thoughts on the Steelers right now? Here's the last thing I want to say on that.
Don't forget, we got to talk about that tackling stuff.
Oh yeah, we'll get there in a second. Right. This is the one thing that I really don't like about Mike Tomlin when it comes to stuff like this. And it is
his speech today.
His quote, he's quoted as saying that Russell Wilson is currently in the pole position.
Yes.
All right, look, what does that really mean? I mean, you're leaving that open to interpretation.
Well, I mean, pole position means it's a race.
I know.
And there are like 15 people in the race.
Right.
We already know there
35.
aren't 15 people in the race. There are 3 people in the race, and there are 2 guys. One has to be in the first position, one has to be in the second, and one has to be in the third. He's just saying gobbledygook.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, but see, that's the kind of the mixed message that he's been
now
sending.
He's in the pole position.
Yeah,
but there's a race that's about to take place.
What's that mean? Yeah, what are they going to do? I mean, if you don't start Russell Wilson, you're an idiot. Yeah. That's the way I see it. I mean,
it's just a Tomlinism to make him sound a little more mysterious about the position when he doesn't need to be. He can say Russ is a proven leader. He's going to do great for our team, and he's going to bring Justin Fields along, and he'll be a better quarterback by the end of the year.
Wouldn't it be great if he just
said
English?
That?
Exactly. Yeah. It would be.
I can't tell you how many times he said fluidity in the interview.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think he pulls out a thesaurus before every press conference and like works out?
The conversations went very fluid.
Yeah.
When talking about Justin Fields, it's like, I've never had fluid in my conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I've had fluid conversations. I understand where he's going with that, but
it's just like, you don't have to say fluidity all the time.
Yeah. Although I kind of like the way that word sounds, fluidity.
No.
You don't like that?
It reminds me too much of my mechanics of materials class.
Oh.
And all I can think about is laminar flow and turbulent flow and chaotic flow. And I'm trying to calculate how much fluidity is really going on.
Yeah. When you said those 3 things, what was it? Laminate flow, turbulent flow, laminar flow, turbulent flow, and chaotic flow?
Yeah.
Yeah. That reminded me of the Spice Channel.
Okay.
Anybody remember the Spice Channel? Raise your hand.
Spice Channel.
Come on, Steve. Raise your hand. Yeah. Where's Chuck when we need him? Where's Chuck? Okay, DG. My thoughts on our QBs. We can be in good shape if Wilson isn't a diva who sucks like he did 2 years ago, or we could just continue mediocrity. CD's calling Hockey Jesus the engineering freak.
It happens. That's what I can't help it.
So before we get into what the NFL did with tackling, what do you think would be worse? Let's consider this pole position thing. Okay. So another reminder of the Spice Channel. If Russell Wilson starts and looks bad, or Justin Fields starts and looks bad, first game of the season, which is worse? What's a worse look for the Steelers? If Russell Wilson is
Justin Fields,
exactly, exactly, because now he's done.
Yeah,
Wilson can go in and suck. And he can come out of the press conference and literally say, I didn't play well today. I'm a leader here, blah, blah, blah.
Still, there's an excuse anyway, whoever starts, just because everything's new. The receivers are new. The offense is new. The building is new. The field is new. Everything about the offense is going to be new. So they're going to have lots of excuses why they didn't play well. But it would be much worse for Justin Fields to go out there and do that because he's had a lot of mistakes happen.
That's right.
And if that continues, that would be a continuation of a problem that's not fixed, which is another reason why you play Russ.
Right. And if Russ goes in and plays bad the first game, you're not going to hear people scream and put in Justin Fields. He's going to get the next game or the next 2 games.
Yeah.
Whereas if Fields becomes a starter, he plays one bad game, all of Steelers Nation is going to be screaming, put in Russell Wilson. What are you doing?
Right.
So Russell Wilson is the starter in my book. So
for sure.
Steelers Freak also says Wilson has a better chance at winning a playoff game than Fields. Right now, I believe that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Which addresses the immediate need, right? Okay, so
let's get to the playoffs first. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You feel much better with a veteran quarterback like Russell Wilson in there starting a playoff game against Baltimore or whoever you'd end up playing. As long as it's not against Kansas City, I'd give him a chance. You know what? He's played against Kansas City now that he's been in Denver a couple of years. So
he has, and they beat him.
Yeah,
they beat him last year, didn't they?
No.
Yeah.
They beat them. They beat them in the regular season.
Yeah, yeah, not in the playoffs. Yeah, we know that.
Right.
Okay, moving on to something that I really don't understand, and I'm gonna have Hockey Jesus explain this to me. What is a hip tackle, and why did the NFL ban it?
So a hip tackle, you've seen it 1,000 times. It's when a guy is running, and there's a guy running either beside him or maybe slightly behind him, and he grabs him basically around the waist and like jumps on his legs to pull him down.
Okay. Yeah. That kind of looks like every tackle to me.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Or it can happen from the side too, when like, a guy's running this way kind of slow and the guy comes this way. And instead of like putting a helmet or a shoulder on him, he just grabs him by the waist and kind of spins him around.
Okay. So is it defined as any tackle where contact is initiated by wrapping your arms around their hips?
That's
something like that.
That's the thing they don't actually specify.
Okay.
So what you're doing is you're giving the referees a little bit more leeway on a call that could be a hip tackle or not a hip tackle. To me, this stinks to the scripting that goes on in the NFL. It gives them another thing that they can script. Like, okay, this game, we're going to call the hip tackle.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen in the third quarter.
Yeah.
When the other team isn't doing well. And I don't know what the penalty is. I think it's 10 yards and a first down maybe or something like that.
Right.
Automatic first down. So it's like guaranteed to get the first down no matter what happens.
We'll see if they call it in the preseason. DG says it's a hip drop tackle. Okay, so that's what they're calling it.
Right.
Now here's something Steelers Freak says, and he's watching us on YouTube, and go back in the comments and look for our YouTube channel. We would love for you to subscribe there. I will actually drop the link in the comments again for you to go there and subscribe so you can catch the Hockey Jesus updates, and all of our live shows are on YouTube as well,
including the Hockey Jesus.
That's right. I said Hockey Jesus first.
No, because I am. I'm in the pole position.
You are. That's one of my favorite. Division plus drama, says Steelers Freak, equals more cash for talking heads. Wilson versus Fields discussions will continue.
Yeah.
Yes, bring on the discussions. More cash for talking heads. That's what we are.
Yeah.
Talking heads.
I wish we were getting some of that cash.
That would be fantastic.
Steelers Freak.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're getting
there. We're making our way through the small cash to get to the big cash.
Yeah. And the cash is pretty small right now. All right, let's get this comment here. CD says hip drop tackle is like Spice Channel content, dirty or not. You know dirty when you see it.
You know it when you see it. I hate that. That's the worst.
I know. Mike Lawrence says, I think the hip tackle will be unnecessary roughness with 15 and an automatic first down.
Oh, God, Mike, you're probably right, which would be even worse.
Yeah, I know. Listen, these guys, the Mike Ditkas,
Think about it. The guy could run for like 15 yards, and then they make a hip tackle
and get another 15.
It's another 15 yards. And there's a 30-yard play where boom.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what? That actually helps the Steelers if they have a really good runner.
That's true.
And if they have a really good running game.
Yeah. How do you not? How is that? I have a feeling
that's going to bring the big back to the NFL.
Yeah. I have a feeling that maybe it's there's a little bit more behind this.
Oh, you know what it's about. It's about giving the referees a little bit more leeway to make more decisions to make the outcome of the game beneficial to whoever they want it to be.
What's DG saying here? I certainly played at a much lower level, but as a safety, DG, you were a safety? I made tackles like this, not by design, but by any method that I could take a guy down.
Exactly.
I don't know how you can keep this out. That's right. To quote my favorite Steeler, says the doctor, just put a dress on them.
Well, that's where they're headed.
Yeah.
They're headed to flags.
Yeah.
They're headed to a place that none of us will watch.
You know what I think
and
would
it's
be
kind of sad.
What I think would be great is this. And my reference, I said Mike Ditka earlier. It wasn't because I was having a seizure and the words Mike Ditka came out. What I'm talking about is the old time guys that played. And they played the roughest football you could play.
Yeah.
They had the clothesline tackle was legal back then. You could kill people on the field.
You could pick them up and slam them down.
I know. They also made almost no money. Now these guys are getting a guarantee.
Yep.
From the lowest guarantee for a kicker of like $10 million all the way up to the highest guarantee for your quarterbacks of $200 million. The amount of money they're getting guaranteed to play now is going up. Well, and we're treating them more like chandeliers.
Dude,
let them play.
NFL has become big business now. First.
I want violence. I want hitting. That's why you play the game. That's why we watch it.
But let's face it, you're not going to watch the game if the starting quarterback gets knocked out and suddenly the game just sucks to watch.
Well, that is true.
and that's what they're trying. That's what they're trying to eliminate. But I think this hip drop tackle is going a little too far. Well, we'll see how it works out this year.
Here's something.
But my concern is they're just trying to let the referees have a little bit more leeway to make the outcome of the game more beneficial to whoever they want. And I know that's conspiratorial, but I'm standing by it.
So here's something. CD says, Dr. Talk, hip drop out of the game saves high ankle sprains, foot fractures, and ankle dislocations. It's a good move.
Oh, God. Who brought the doctor into the conversation?
He did. And that's called gaslighting.
Yeah.
I knew he was trying to gaslight you.
But he's probably right. But I don't care. Yeah. I say get tougher. There. How about that?
Yeah, I agree.
Get tougher. Give him a bionic ankle after it breaks off. Just cut it off and $6 million man that bitch.
You know what they should do?
Take that.
Let's start the NFL, the prosthetic league.
Mm-hmm.
The National Prosthetic Football League.
You want to come back?
You break your ankle
cut it off,
get the prosthetics.
Put a fake one on.
That. I would watch that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Guys with fake legs running down the field, throwing the ball.
Dude, that's where they're headed. They're headed to robots. You know
like that? You think so?
Oh yeah, there'll be a robot league for sure.
Well, that I'm sure of
maybe
too.
not in our lifetime.
Elon is working on that right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt about that.
He is. All right, let's see. Steelers Freak. The NFL has been scripting for years, for a few years. That is why offensive holding is called sparingly. It wants points and healthy starting QBs, not sacks. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and you can call holding on almost any play. The fact that TJ Watt cries about it is all you need to know.
Yeah.
Because he does get held a lot, but you know what? Be a man, get a robotic chest, and just get a hand that just comes right out of your chest and punches them when they hold you like that. Right?
Lord knows they make enough money to buy a robotic chest. I mean, seriously. Okay, let's move on here. We're going to talk. Man, we got the comments coming in like crazy. Though I do have to.
The corporate sponsorship. The sports porch was not allowed in on those conversations, so we're banning that talk this week. But maybe we'll talk about it next week.
My buddy Jeff from York is in the house. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jeff. They had the stats on ESPN today. Out of 260 plus hip tackles, out of all the tackles in the NFL, there are only 260 hip tackles. Let's see how many of those. That would have been technically 260 penalties last year.
Times 15.
Yeah.
That's 2,600 yards.
Plus a half.
1,300.
Yeah, so 3,900 yards. Right.
Almost 4,000 yards. That's like 8 more touchdowns.
15 injuries. Not sure how serious those injuries were. Steelers Freak. The 70s D would be arrested for attempting murder.
So would the Oakland Raiders. Yeah. And Jack Tatum, he would not be able to play ever again.
Can't hit him in the head, says DG. Can't hit him in the knees, legs. Can't grab him around the waist to spin them down. I mean, that's
the Steelers are focusing on the defense.
Yeah, you can't. Basically, they're eliminating the defense in these games.
Who's going to be able to tackle Travis Kelce now?
I want to know. Nobody.
Taylor Swift can.
Yeah, well. Yeah, and that all has to do with pole dancing and the Spice Channel. So
it all comes back to that.
It does. Complete circular thought. That's what we're all about here on the Sports Porch. Circular thought.
More like a circus, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Similar letters.
Circus, circular. Welcome to the porch.
At what point does the NFL become the NBA light? Like the score is going to be 72-63.
Yeah. I don't think it'll get that bad, but it'll be definitely something that we'll notice this year, I bet.
Okay. Thanks for being here. I want to remind you, we got a couple more things we're going to talk about. I got one more comment here on football, I think, coming in. I guess hit them in the nuts to drop them. There you go. They haven't talked about that yet. I mean,
you're not allowed to punch somebody in the nuts. They'll call that every time.
You're not allowed to do that.
Well, I mean, at the bottom of a pile when nobody's looking.
Yeah, sure. People all the time. But they're already on the ground there.
Exactly.
That's right.
I mean, you can't really see what's going on.
All right. Hockey Jesus Preaches on the podcast. You're watching the Sports Porch podcast right now, live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X. And we drop the podcast right after the show on the Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio app, or anywhere you get your freaking podcasts. And Hockey Jesus Preaches after every single Penguins game, whether they have a good record, a bad record, whether Sidney Crosby scores a goal or not.
4 points.
Hockey Jesus is right here now. Steelers Freak is saying Hockey Jesus has the Oppenheimer brain. There you go. What are we talking about here, Hockey Jesus? Looks like the Penguins are done for the year,
Penguins are
right?
done.
You think so?
Yeah, they're done. I mean, they've got 70 points. I projected them to have 82 points at this point. That's 6 more losses than wins.
Right.
And that's enough. That's definitely enough to keep them out. Look, they're closer to the bottom than they are to the top. It's not true. It's not even close. So what they should strive to do is get as near to the bottom as they can. They can't hit the top. They can't hit the bottom 5. The bottom 5 are out of reach, just like the top 8 are out of reach right now.
Yeah, that's what you were talking about on the podcast last night.
So they have to make a decision, and they didn't make any moves today, which kind of pisses me off a little bit because I was hoping they bring Poulin up today so that he'd be able to play tomorrow. I know that Achari got injured. And Carter's been out for a while. So there are 2 veteran guys that should not play the rest of the season as far as I'm concerned. I like Puljujärvi. They got him from Edmonton. But he's pretty much a known commodity at this point, right?
Right, I got you.
And so if he doesn't play, that's fine with me. The more guys they can place on the bottom 6, and I'd like to see them play together, I think would make a lot of sense just to see what you got there. They also have a rookie goalie, Blomqvist. I like to see him come up and play a few games. One of their prospects got injured, and I can't remember who it was. I think it might be that new guy, that Pole. I'm going to say his name wrong. The guy that got in the trade with Gensel. I think he got injured, so he's not going to be able to come up. He's week to week, so that's not going to happen. Their Finn star is actually lighting up the playoffs. They're in the finals, and he actually had a hat trick over there. So I don't know. I think maybe he might be somebody to look for next year, but you're not going to be able to see him play.
What's his name? Year. Can you pronounce it?
I cannot pronounce it. It's one of those crazy Finnish names that's impossible.
Well, let's start.
Once again, he's a guy that came over on the Gensel trade also.
Let's start learning Finnish for next year. Don't you think
I think I might have to. Yes, right. I think I might have to. So
I'm trying to learn Canadian.
Look, I try not to listen to too many announcers because I don't like to steal people's stuff.
Right.
But I was listening to Mark Madden and Phil Bork today.
Well, Mark Madden is he's a pretty astute hockey guy. I will give him that.
He's the hockey genius.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
that's above the hockey Jesus.
Well, I find that hard to believe, but hey, whatever.
No, it's true. The guy knows everything about hockey. Anyway, they were talking and they were saying like they can't figure out what's wrong with this team. And as they were talking, it became clear to me what's wrong with this team. They have too many veterans who are stuck in their ways and are not listening to their coach. Even though their coach tells them good things, they always revert back to what it is they know and they like. And the problem with that is you never try anything new. So that's why everybody says this team is stale. And they are stale.
Yeah,
They've been
I agree.
stale for a very long time. And it's the leaders who need to change, and they won't. So there's no way to fix that. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then in the off season, they get a new GM who brings in a bright, shiny toy that everybody thought was going to be great.
Right.
And he is just not a fit for this team. And now they're stuck with him because the bright, shiny toy they bought at retail price.
Right.
They bought it at the sticker price, and now everybody wants it at a retail, which means we would probably have to suck $3 million up off of his contract just to get him off the books. Yeah. That's a whole nother player you could get.
Yeah.
So if they can't figure that out, and by the way, I don't think anybody knows, but I think the ownership likes Sullivan, so they want to keep him.
Yeah, that's obvious.
I actually don't think it's about the money.
No, I think it's obvious they like him.
He'll get $16.5 million over the next 3 years, and that's how long he signed for the next 3 years. If they got rid of him today, he would be signed before the beginning of next season.
Oh, yeah.
And they wouldn't have to pay him a lick.
He'd be signed in 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So, but they may have to go in that direction. I'll be honest with you, just because the one thing you can do to shake up a team is change the coach. That always happens.
That's true.
But I don't think they want to shake.
Plenty of examples where where a coach has come in mid-season and they've not only made the playoffs, but they've gone to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
And won. So that hockey is that rare sport. It's so weird to me that you can do that. You can't do that in football. Baseball, it's been done, as far as I know, a couple years ago with the Phillies when they made the World Series and lost it.
Yeah.
They switched managers, but that never happens in baseball.
There's so much momentum that happens in hockey. And once momentum's on your side, you can take that for a while.
Yeah.
And you have to take it for 16 games in the playoffs.
So
and that's all you really need to do.
So why, I mean, okay, so you're a hockey Jesus. My thought on this is this whole stale idea.
Mm.
I gotta be completely candid with you.
Yep.
I don't think it takes a hockey genius to come up with that idea. I've been thinking that this entire season. Like, these guys are it's not that they're old, but some of them are showing. I mean, I think Malkin is definitely he's fallen off that cliff.
I agree.
But the team is stale.
Yeah.
And that's been quite obvious since probably about mid-season last year.
Maybe sooner, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the question is what you were addressing, what do you do about it? Or how can you do something about it?
And I think that, unfortunately, what they're trying to do is they're just trying to bring in other people to fill those gaps on the bottom six. Just bring up good young talent from your player pool that you already have. I know there isn't a lot there, but you got to try it. Like, they haven't tried Sam Poulin ever.
Why do you think that is? Because the veterans kind of have a stranglehold on this?
No, I think it's the people who are evaluating the talent say he doesn't have it. But if you don't bring him up, you don't know.
Yeah.
I think Puustinen is too small to play all the time, but at least the kid shoots the puck. He's not afraid to go in the corners and get the puck. He's not afraid to shoot the puck. Like, Gino's afraid to shoot the puck.
Yeah, you can't score if you don't shoot,
Right? So and that's what you need. You need that excitement of being in the league. Like, they played Jack St. Ivany the other night for the first time. He looks good out there. I mean, does he make mistakes? Of course he's going to make mistakes. He's a rookie. That's why you got to play these rookies now. Let them make the mistakes now, early in the next season. And then, look, Drew O'Connor, they played him all year. He looks really good now. He's not making as many mistakes. I still don't know if he's a top 6 talent, but I think he's what they call middle 6 talent now.
Right.
So he could play on the second or the third line, I think, interchangeably. But I just don't think he belongs on the top line. I'd rather see Bunning up on the top line. By the way, Bunning's worked out fine for us. I know that Gensel's worked out better for Carolina. I think he's got
Carolina's got a better team right now. So.
I mean, Carolina's really flying, and that's who's in town tomorrow night. So that's who I'll get to see, and I'll get to see the tribute video live. So
there you go.
There's a bonus.
There you go.
By the way, the last time I saw the game was Jake Gensel's last game in a Penguins uniform.
And now you're going to see him in a Hurricanes uniform.
Yep. Oh, and I'll get to see the good old Yager banner at the top. So lots of things.
Do you think you'll get a Yager bobblehead now that they've acquired them?
Oh, you could probably get them right now for $100 on eBay.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I did see that they found the bobbleheads.
Whatever.
Well, they got their next shipment.
DG says, I think Letang and Malkin have been underachieving. What do you think? Letang has been too sloppy. too often.
Yeah, I agree with David. A lot of people don't believe that. They're saying Letang had his best year this year. I think he's really tailed off here at the end, to be honest with you. And I think him playing with Carlson was actually a boost for him, but it didn't help Carlson at all. And if those two guys can't figure out how to play together on the same team, somebody's got to go. And It's not going to be Letang.
Quick question. Is Malkin on the team next year?
He has to be. No trade. He's signed for another 2 years.
Oh, he can always waive his no trade.
He could, but he's not going to do that. He would have to either retire, which he's probably not going to do that. I suggest that next year they put him on a wing. Don't make him a center. Put him on a wing where he can do less damage. And honestly, make him play with Sid.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I would do.
Obviously,
unless of course they get Gensel back, and then that's all out the window.
Yeah, and Gensel is basically a rental. Gensel the rental from for Carolina for right now.
Looks like it. It doesn't look like I haven't heard anything about any contract talks or anything.
Well, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean it could happen at any time.
Yeah,
but I think they're focused on this playoff run coming up.
Yeah,
and they got a good shot at catching the Rangers. Although the Rangers looked good coming back against Florida the other night.
I know the season's over for the most part, but I am looking forward to Hockey Jesus's analysis of the NHL playoffs coming up. For tomorrow night's game, hey, did you know you could go on your phone and do
a video
and
on
do the phone? YouTube. Yeah, you can get the YouTube Studio app. We'll talk about it after the show. It'll be just as easy as doing the live.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, you should, because we're going to have 1 million subscribers before you know it.
Well, people always like to see you at the PPG Arena, too. I'm sure that'd be a big draw. Live at the PPG
That's
Arena.
Right. That's right. You don't even have to do it live. Yeah. So, okay, thanks for watching the Sports Porch live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. And, of course, you can catch the podcast right after the show. I drop it as soon as we're done here on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your freaking podcasts. And now we're going to move on to a little Bucko talk, because the Pirate has come out of hibernation. And I think I'm going to wear a costume.
You need
the costume that DG sent. Yeah. Yeah. So real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the Pirates right now. I'm going to talk about their opening day roster. I'm going to give you a quick analysis, and trust me, it's going to be quick.
The Pirates are going to suck. Thank you.
And well, they play in a very, very open, I'm not going to say a bad division, but they play in an totally open division in baseball.
There's no favorite.
I love all the talk about the Cardinals and how they always seemed to, like, they were really bad last year, but
super bad,
they always seem to, rise to the top. They've got a great ownership, management, blah, blah, blah. Look,
they're always going to be competitive.
Maybe, maybe. It's one of those things where I think I think there's more legend and lore there than there is real stuff. I don't know.
I don't know the last time they won a World Series.
It was within the last 10 or 15 years, but I don't feel like looking it up. So I do know that I did say last year, watch out for the Cubs.
You did.
Because they looked awful in the beginning of the season, but by the end of the year, they were coming on strong. I would say watch out for the Cubs again this year. They re-signed Cody Bellinger. Their pitching is kind of average, but they do have the bats. Milwaukee lost Corbin Burns to my favorite team, the Orioles, and Buccos are my favorite team on this show. And I don't know, but as far as the opening day roster, of course, you've got Mitch Keller for as the quote unquote ace of the staff, Marco Gonzalez, Martin Perez, who won a World Series with the Rangers last year, Bailey Falter. I have no faith in him. God. And what I am happy about, though, is
their starting pitching is awful.
Well, it's not awful. See, that's the thing. Yeah. Last year, their starting pitching was awful, except for Mitch Keller.
Right.
In the beginning of the year, they had some young guys like Ronzi Contreras, who
they started the year, correct me if I'm wrong,
20-8.
Yeah, guys like pitching out of their mind.
Right.
Starting pitching that had no business of doing that.
Right. So, Jared Jones, though, I'm very happy that he made the roster, because he had a good spring, 16 plus innings, no runs, something like 7 hits or something. And
he's young.
I think he is the one that could be a surprise.
He's no Schemes.
No, but Schemes is going to be in Indianapolis.
Why?
Who knows?
Just explain to me why.
Well, it has a lot to do with the year. He's got to put a year of service in and all this kind of stuff. There's some technicalities in
So
this.
it's a bunch of bullshit is what you're telling me.
Talking pirate sounds to me like the teacher from Charlie Brown, says CD. Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Okay. Well,
but that's why this is the quickest segment we have.
Yes. And the less commenting you do, CD, the quicker it'll go. I just want you to know that. What do I think about our starting rotation right now? Well,
it's okay to say it sucks.
Here's my problem with Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller just signed for him what is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And we all know in baseball, all the money's guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
He pitched his ass off last year. First half of the season, he looked like an ace.
Mm-hmm.
Second half of the season, he looked mediocre. Now that he's been paid, yeah, we'll get that in there. Now that he's been paid, I worry. Now,
that's a good thing to worry about, actually.
Yeah, I do, because
but he deserved to get paid.
Absolutely, and
they didn't pay him that much money.
Not as far as for being a number one and being the ace of a staff. What I want to see out of Mitch Keller this year is I want to see determination. I want to see him earn
full year, right?
The money that he was paid.
That seems fair.
Do I think he can do it? Yes, I do. What I worry about is I made my money. Yeah. I always worry about that.
Right.
Marco Gonzalez and Martin Perez, they are experienced major league pitchers. They have had some success at the major league level.
Yeah.
They're solid from the standpoint of, what you're going to get. They can keep you in games.
Yeah.
So, that's why I'm saying Bailey Falter, just, read his last name, Falter.
Yeah, Falter. He's a perfect name for the Pirates.
Jared Jones, already had that discussion.
Is he going to be the fifth starter?
Yeah, most likely, because he's a rookie. Yeah. So, and I want to see if he pitches the way he pitched in spring up at the major league level, if he doesn't lose the courageousness that you need to have.
Right.
Then, as my father was a great pitcher in college baseball, and he basically said, throw strikes.
Yeah.
Even if you throw strikes down the middle, it's hard to hit major league pitching. So don't dance around the plate, throw strikes. So, then you've got Bednar, Chapman, Stratton, Barucki, Fleming, Contreras, because they can't let him go. They're out of options with him.
Yeah.
They have to release him.
Sure.
Ortiz and Ryder Ryan. Okay, so Chapman, well, he's a rental, so we can get draft picks back and prospects back.
But I mean, he makes the bullpen better.
But he'll be fun to watch. Yeah. Between him and Bednar, that 1-2 punch at the end. Yeah, if they can hold a close game or a one run lead.
So I'm reading between the lines here, but you're basically saying if they can get to the sixth inning with their frontline pitching, then they got a chance of being in some games.
That's right. And other than Bailey Falter, who I have no faith in whatsoever, and then Jared Jones, who has yet to pitch at the major league level.
Right. Unknown.
They've got three guys at the top of the rotation that know how to pitch. But what sucks is that's really all you can say about them.
Right.
Okay. And Holderman is, I think, starting the season on IR. He's the guy that came over from the Mets.
Right.
And if you have Holderman, Chapman, and Bednar, and you go into even the fifth inning with a lead, you've got a good chance of winning the game.
Right. I mean, they've got some good middle relief there for sure.
Yeah.
I have to talk about this Ohtani.
Okay. So not Bucco's baseball. How does Ohtani's interpreter have access to his bank account for $4 million and Ohtani does not know what that's going on?
Oh, he knows what's going on. Like it's called run and hide, duck and cover. Also known as Spice Channels.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Run and hide, duck and cover.
Oh, yeah, for
Spice
sure.
Channel. I think that was the name of a movie on the Spice Channel.
Oh, for sure. Guaranteed. There were some other words after that, but 100%. But there's definitely some things that Major League Baseball does not want to come out, and that's for sure. What the hell are you eating over there? You're chewing in my ear like a cow chewing on his cud. It's
I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you. I've been doing that all time. I am eating.
It's driving me nuts. I just was trying to withhold my ire.
I want to let all the sports Porcher Nation we're going to call it Porcher Nation.
Porcher Nation. Got
Porcher Nation. No, I work at Trader Joe's greatest grocery store on the planet. That's how I make
There's
a
one
living.
near you, I'm sure.
Right. And of course, I work there. But I am eating Trader Joe's. This is our Trader Joe's product sampling of the week. It's Trader Joe's premium peanut butter filled pretzel nuggets, which we're all familiar with. It's what I'm snacking on.
What makes them premium,
I don't know. I think I made up that word premium.
Maybe it's the type of peanut butter in there.
Well, and I think it's also important to say that Trader Joe's is not paying for this. They are not a sponsor of the show. I just work there and I love their food. So every week we're going to have a Trader Joe's product of the week, and we're going to talk about it real quick. What do you think?
I'd call it premium because the peanut butter does just kind of like melt away.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm a big fan of like dipping pretzels into like ranch dressing.
Yes.
Clearly, you wouldn't want to do that with the peanut butter.
Maybe we'll try that, though.
No, we will not.
Okay.
It does get a little stuck, though, in my gum.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Does it get stuck in your craw?
It gets stuck in my craw.
What I would say about these, as opposed
Good
to
flavor, though,
the other peanut butter pretzel nuggets, is that the other ones are stuffed with too much peanut butter. These have just the right amount of peanut butter in them.
I agree.
Other than that, a pretzel nugget is a pretzel.
Yeah,
nugget.
you can still get the pretzel out of it.
Yep.
I like CD's idea about Otani.
Okay. Well, I just put up. Okay. You cows crack me up.
Yeah,
Thanks, DG.
You're welcome, dude.
Last time there was a gambling controversy like this, Jordan decided to play baseball.
He did. Not
Maybe
very
Otani can play center for the Clippers for 2 years.
I don't think he would be a center. I think he would be more like a shooting guard.
I guess maybe. Okay, so let's break this down real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with the question that Mike brought up. How does Otani's interpreter have access to his bank account, and Otani doesn't know about it? That is a whole separate issue than gambling.
Yeah.
Because he could have had access to his bank account and just been stealing money, period, which is what he was doing.
I'm sure that's what MLB wants to know.
Right. And that's what they're going to try to find out. The other side of it, gambling, what they want to find out is if Otani knew that then right now it's duck and cover.
Yeah.
My interpreter was gambling with my money and I didn't know about it. And he had gambling debts with an offshore gambling site and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I heard this on the Jody Mack show. I love Jody Mack on CBS Radio.
Oh, yeah?
Love Jody Mack. Baseball's rule does not prohibit you from gambling. What it prohibits you from doing is...
Here we go. You're going to really upset the Pete Rose people.
Hold on. No. It prohibits you from gambling on baseball only. And you can gamble, but you have to gamble on anything else you want at a licensed, registered, either casino or bookmaker.
Yeah,
that CD says I didn't know Pete Rose was an interpreter at a licensed, registered, gambling institution in the United States.
See, that sounds way too complicated. Either he was doing it or he wasn't.
Right. So here's the thing. I think that this is going to come up more, and it is coming up more and more because now all of the major sports are in bed with the gambling enterprise. The legal gambling enterprise is legal as far as we know. I mean, hell, even ESPN has their own sports book now.
Absolutely. Everybody's going to be gambling.
We need to start the Porch book.
No, absolutely.
Come on.
I don't want to have anything to do with gambling.
You can set the odds. How about if you do that?
No,
we won't be doing the gambling. These guys will be doing the gambling.
I just think gambling is the house always wins.
That's
with gambling.
True. That's why. And
I understand the appeal for that.
Right.
But people get addicted to it and they don't know they're even addicted to it. They think they're just watching, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to get worse because 20-somethings now, they're all betting. There's a reason why the NCAA was the most watched this year. It's because of the gambling.
I know.
And that's a problem. And I want to steer absolutely clear from that. And anybody who is out there betting, just be careful because it is really dangerous.
I agree with you. And I do not gamble at all.
Yeah. I think I would have an addictive nature with that. So once I would start to do it, it would be like, yeah, I'm only doing like $1 here and $1.
That's how it starts.
Yeah. But I think like somebody like Mark who does it kind of on the fly, he's betting nickels and dimes. Like whatever. Yeah. That's fine. To me, that's fine. Yeah. If you just want to do that for the fun of it because you want to be a little bit more invested in the game, that's fine. But once you start 10s, 20s, and then you start getting in the hundreds of dollars, you have got a real problem.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, we bring up the Grant Schwabini because he has fun with a couple dollars here and there, but he is also the kind of guy who he understands moderation. He's got himself under control. Hell, we didn't even know that he threw a couple bucks on games. He's been doing it for a while until he just happened to mention it a few weeks back. But he's in his 50s. It doesn't mean it can't happen to anybody, because it can,
for sure.
But what they're really going after is they're going after the college kids.
Yeah, they just want to make it normal. Yeah. They just want to make it normal for them. Like, of course you're going to the game, so you have to bet something.
Yeah, right. I know. So we don't want to slam it.
Well, CD, you'd be down $2,200 right now.
Yeah. What did he say? I'd bet on what?
The 3 rye guys.
Oh, that's funny. Jesus, preach that engineering math. So okay, back to the yeah. So Ohtani, we'll find out, but this is going to be a problem.
They'll get to the bottom of this. They'll make a ruling. It'll probably be like, yeah, that guy can't be his interpreter anymore, and he'll get another guy.
And to answer Mike's question, you know, and I know it was rhetorical. How does Ohtani not know what's going on? Well, you would think he would. Number one.
I mean, really, $4 million for Ohtani, that's like, well, that's probably like,
it's chump change.
Maybe $1,500 for you and me.
Yeah. Maybe even less.
Yeah. Would you notice it missing? Probably not.
Well, the thing about a guy like
once
Ohtani
you look at it, you're like, wow, what is that $1,500?
He has a PR person. He has an agent. He has an entourage that manages his social media, his life, his real estate. I mean, hell, Russell Wilson had a guy come into Pittsburgh to look for a house for him and his wife because he didn't have time to do it.
Yeah.
So could he not know it's going? Sure. Who's to say that his interpreter wasn't also his, quasi accountant guy taking care of his money?
Bookie, right?
Now, do I believe that Ohtani? I don't know him, and I didn't watch him that much last year. But he didn't strike me as the kind of guy that gambles.
Nah.
He strikes me as the kind of guy who's like got a one-track mind. Like, I'm going to hit as many home runs and throw as many strikes as I can, and then I got injured, and now I got to,
Not to draw a parallel, but I knew a guy at work like that who I didn't think would do some bad things, and he did.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, these things happen, and they happen with people who you don't know. Like, why did Pete Rose bet on baseball? He didn't need to bet on baseball, but he did.
He did. Yeah.
And it's a shame. He admitted to it.
Yeah. It's a shame.
At least he admitted to it, but now he's paying the price for the rest of his life.
Does he belong in the Hall of Fame? Yes, he does. Did he break the one rule that you're not allowed to break?
Yes, he did.
That they made very, very clear?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
Yes, he did. DG, I agree wholeheartedly with your gambling rant. I did put my $2 in for tonight's Powerball. I got a Powerball ticket too.
Let's go.
And $2 for Mega Millions.
What
of course,
is it, 1.5 billion.
Yeah, it's something.
I
mean, come on. Can we please make it a little more? I mean, it's almost not worth it,
I mean, it's only
$2 for Mega Millions. Of course, if I win, I'm putting you all on the payroll. DG, nah, keep it for yourself, man. Just fly up to Pittsburgh and
take us out to dinner.
There you go. Somewhere.
Altavia.
There you go. At Altavia. Yeah. And buy Steve some pretzel nuggets because he loves them so much.
That would be great.
Okay, I want to finish this quick Pirates thing. The infielders, Rowdy Tellez, Jared Triolo, O'Neal Cruz, Cabrian Hayes, and Alika Williams. I love Cruz. I hope he plays well this year. I did hear a rumor that he might be batting leadoff. We're going to have issues this year, guys. We're going to have issues with this lineup again. I know Cruz is fast, but he is not a leadoff hitter. He is a number 3 hitter. He's the guy you want coming up when you got men on base, okay? Because he can turn a triple into an inside the park. He can turn a double into a triple, he can crush the friggin' ball.
Give them a few games. Let's see what happens.
Right. Triolo, I sung his praises last year. The only problem that Triolo has is that when he makes contact, he doesn't hit the ball very far. I hope he worked on his swing. If he can add a little power between him and Hayes in the infield, I actually think Triolo is a better fielder than Brian Hayes. Now, people are going to argue with me about that, and I get it, but I'm not saying better by a lot. But if you have Triolo at second or Triolo even at first, which they're talking about, maybe he ends up there and he can add a little pop
there goes
to
my
his
big
bat.
fatty Rowdy.
That's not going to happen at the beginning of the season.
Okay, good.
I hate Rowdy Tellez being in there. I think that was just a terrible signing. But you know what? Maybe he'll crush a few balls, drink a few beers, crush a few cans on his head.
That's celebration right
now,
there.
of course, they have the outfield, McCutchen, who will play very sparingly in the field and obviously be the DH. We got Reynolds, Sawinski, Taylor, Connor Joe, and Edward Olivares with the catchers being Henry Davis and Jason DeLay. I love that. Please let Hank Davis play catcher.
He's going to have to.
Yep.
He's the only guy
I
left.
think he'll do just fine there. I like his determination. I think Jason DeLay is a fantastic backup catcher. He's got a good bat. Sawinski, this is your year. Work on not striking out as much. Look, the guy hit 20 plus home runs last year, did not play the whole season. He was platooned all the time.
He got
struck out a billion times. I mean, if this guy can just get his eye down and learn how to hit a curveball, he's going to hit 40 home runs.
Well, so let's not go overboard here.
Listen, the season is right now. We are 0-0. Okay, and
first place,
and we are right now. We are in
first place.
Let's go Bucks. That's right. So as far as I'm concerned, we're going to be positive going into this year
Bucks.
Until we absolutely have to be negative. So
we will always be negative on nutting, though.
That's right. Well, not really negative on nutting, but negative on Bob. Right.
Is that another movie?
Yes, it is. Negative on nutting. CD says, Klein, you're making me hear words, not wah, wah, wah. Nice work. Your passion for mediocrity is inspiring.
We've got a lot of that here on the porch.
God bless you, Dr. DeFlitch.
Well, thanks for that high ankle sprain stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Anytime you need
David, maybe you need to put the doctor on the payroll.
Quack diagnosis. All right. Thanks for watching the Sports Porch all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. And of course, we're going to drop the podcast in a couple minutes on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts.
And don't forget about the Hockey Jesus. I'll be on tomorrow night.
That's right. Hockey Jesus on the podcast after every game. I am your technical director, and I am out. And I finished the music too early. Have a great